As a real estate investor, the time may come in which you need to explore exit strategies, right? To actually exit out the property. But with various plans and exit strategies available, how do you know which one will be the best one according to your interest, your deal, your situation? Well, we'll get to that information in today's video. All right, first let's discuss what are exit strategies. Oftentimes, newbie investors never consider exit strategies. Exit strategy is pretty much, in layman terms, just showing you a picture. When you walk into a house, condo, whatever, you want to understand if ish hit the fan, pretty much, right? Or it don't have to be something negative, it could be something positive. But if something was going to go down and I shouldn't be in this house anymore, how can I exit? Maybe I can go through the window. It might not be the ideal option, but as long as I can fit through that window and it's not too far of a fall to the ground, perhaps that could be one option. Or perhaps there's a patio, or perhaps there's a back door, I can open that. That can be another direction. Or perhaps there's another window in the other bedroom over here. You want to entertain multiple ways to exit out the asset, okay? Before ish hits the fan, or at the pinnacle in which you think, hey, the property is at max profitability, or the market is at the high end in which it's a seller's market, so the price point of real estate is through the roof, pun intended. It's time for me to cash out, baby. So you always want to think about the back door before you come in the front door, okay? So meaning before you acquire a real estate property, you want to have multiple strategies prior to purchasing the property to exit the property. Okay, so that way you can get the max profitability as possible. And what I'm going to share with you today are 3 extra strategies that you can implement into your buy and hold real estate investment strategy. So let's just jump into them one by one. One exit strategy is the 1031 exchange, okay? So let's say you've, before you purchase a property, you considered your exit strategies and you decided, okay, I'm going to buy this property, and by year 4, year 5, I will entertain whether I should exit this property, because I believe within 4 to 5 years, the market conditions, whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, an economic boom or downturn or what have you, I think it may change. And so I project that it will change for the better in that time frame. So I'm going to think about selling the property. So a 1031 exchange is the ideal for a real estate investor who own a property for some time, who want to sell the property, hopefully at the top of the market, right? Be wise and understand what's going on with the market before you sell. But instead of consuming those capital gains, meaning, ooh, I made a $100,000 profit. Let me put this into my bank account, or let me take a nice trip with this. No, 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 no. What you want to do is you want to hire an attorney who can put that money into escrow, in which you have a small time frame to reinvest those capital gains into another property. So that's what a lot of real estate investors do, especially in the game of monopoly, right? What they do is this: they'll buy, let's say you're just getting started, just like with the game of Monopoly. You'll buy a greenhouse, right? It could be a single family home, 3 beds, 2 baths, 1,500 square feet footage or what have you, 2-car garage, and they own this property, it cash flows, it's at the top of the market, they sell the property. And let's say they made a grand profit of $45,000, hooray. So they take that $45,000, put into a 1031 exchange for a period, again, just consult with your attorney, CYA, to see the time frame that's involved. But they'll put that money into escrow until they find a bigger deal. Let's say it's a 6 unit. And they use that $45,000 to cover the acquisition costs for doing that 6 unit, and they repeat the process over and over and over. And each time they scale up, they'll go from, let's say, a duplex to a 6 unit, to a 10 unit, to a 12 unit, to 20, and so forth. So they play the game of Monopoly in real life using 1031 exchanges. And that's a great exit strategy. But the downside to 1031 exchanges is that once you close on that property and you sold it, you better make sure you have another property lined up. Because if you just sold the property and you cashed out $45,000, but you're not sure where you're going to put it, you don't want to be in that situation. That's why I mentioned with exit strategies, before you come in the front door, you already want to know your exits. So before you even sell your property that you currently have, you want to make sure you have other deals in place that you can close on. And secondly, when you sell the property, it's no longer yours. It's out of your portfolio. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because that brings me to the second exit strategy, the cash out refinance strategy. So the cash out refinance strategy is somewhat different than a 1031 exchange. The main difference is with the cash out, you still hold on to the property. With 1031, you sold the property. And you typically sold the property for the 1031 exchange because you want to get all the equity out that property as possible. But with the cash out refinance, unfortunately, you can't pull out all the equity. That's the downside. So let me give you a scenario. Let's take that duplex for instance. And let's say that duplex is appraised at $100,000. And let's say you have a mortgage on that property for $60,000. So with a cash out refinance, unfortunately, you can't pull out $40,000 just like that, because the mortgage lender wants you to have skin in the game. So always, reach out to your lender and so forth. But from my experience, this is the math that they normally do. They take the appraised value, $100,000, minus the loan amount, the mortgage of $60,000, that's $40,000, and they'll let you borrow 80% of that delta, which is $40,000. In my head, that's $32,000. So that means you can pull out $32,000, but not $40,000. But if you did a 1031 exchange and you sold it for $100,000, then you can get access to the whole $40,000 and not just $32,000. Okay, but that's fine, right? At least you were able to pull a portion of your equity out in which you can use to pour over to another deal, just like you would with a 1031 exchange. But the main benefit is you still own that property. So if you still own that property and time goes by, that property, that duplex still appreciates, you can do another cash out refinance later. You can still get cash flow, increase the rents. You're still receiving the benefits of that duplex, but without having to sell it as you would with a 1031 exchange. And that's what a lot of investors do, and which I've done as well. I'll just hold on to the property, and if I do a great job as a owner, meaning I'm making it more profitable, I'm increasing the rents, I'm increasing the NOI, I'm increasing the value, I do a cash out refinance and I still hold on to the property. When you're doing a cash out refinance and you're pulling the equity out, just keep in mind that is a loan. Okay, so being that it's a loan, you will have to pay interest on that amount. So that's why it is vital, if you're pulling the money out, you have to use it to acquire another income producing asset, because you don't want to pull that money out and just have fun with it, right? Because you will pay interest. Now here's the third strategy I would like to share with you. Another extra strategy, which I've done as well, if you own a property, you could bring in a partner in which they bring a cash injection in exchange for equity. And I've done that on deals. I might have owned a 6-unit and I might have had 40% equity that I owned because I had other partners, 2 other partners. And I think they both owned 30% each, right? And I was a general partner, I structured the deal together. So being that I didn't bring any money up, I just brought my time and know-how. I got 40% equity and the 2 other partners got 30% each based upon the cash they brought to the table to buy the property. And so I had a good friend of mine that said, hey, will I be able to jump in one of your properties, because I just really want cash flow now and I have to go find another deal and all this. I said, well, sure, if you want, you can give me $20,000 and I'll give you 15% equity. It's negotiable, whatever I wanted to do. And then that's what we did. He gave me a $20,000 check. I added him to our limited partnership, our agreement, notified the partners in advance as well, just so everyone knows what's going on, it's transparent. And then last, I now had 25% equity and still put no money into the deal. So those are 3 solid extra strategies that you need to entertain, do the math on, crunch the numbers before you buy your first property. There you have it. Armed with knowledge, you can successfully chart your way to owning properties. But we're not done exploring the opportunities. So here, you'll see how you can acquire properties without having the maximum capital that's needed. As always, guys, is to your success. Continue to earn passively, live passionately. Peace.